Today's video is going to be about how you get a conditional daily page. This is a daily page for Monday. So this is my daily checklist, and for Monday, this is a work day, so I want to have a check and update, check calendars for plans, and check what work I have to do that day. But in the case of Sunday, for example, my automatic daily checklist will not have that section because I don't need to check work to-dos on the weekends. Today's tutorial will be on how do you do this. And for that, we should go to my daily note template. So if we scroll past all that and you see this section, this is the code snippet that I'm going to explain today. So there's another snippet down here that I use to control whether or not I add work to my daily habits checklist. So I don't do work on the weekends because I'm trying to be less burnt out. And so this is the exact same thing as up here. And the closing brackets are basically about the same. You can just add a dash here to get rid of this white space over here. And the same thing can be put over here. So I'm just going to go to the section that I already prepared for explaining this. And I'm going to take a screenshot of this and explain it in greater detail. Okay, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to bring it into Excalidraw. Yeah, okay. So taking this exact same snippet, I'm just going to bring this out a bit. First, what are we getting in, right? So this is a templater snippet. Here you have tp_file.title, and it's basically just from templater's original scripts. Yeah, so if I bring up to this screen, so title, it's here. This is tp_file.title. So if you look at their documentation, this tells you exactly what you can get out of templater. But first, let me just bring this here. This file.title, the question is, what is the file's title and how do I get it to be the date title, right? So if you look at periodic notes, so in periodic notes, you have daily notes, which I turned on, and it automatically gives you the YYYMMDD. This is the example of what it looks like. Also, you might see here that I don't have the daily note template. Okay, so this is the date that I have on my daily notes, and I can show you this. You can see that this is a Sunday, and that here they have the year, the month, and the day in this specific format. So this format, I only use the periodic notes to get the title in this format. And so every time I do the command hotkey today, so I got rid of the daily notes open today's notes, and instead I do the periodic notes open daily note. And what this does for me is that I have this notes folder, and let me just make this red. So this notes folder is important because it will trigger templater trigger file on new creation. So the key is that I have this part, which is only gonna get bigger, but okay, so for each folder, I kind of have a different folder template. So first it has to be an empty file that is created in a given folder. And okay. So this empty file is why you see in the daily notes template here, it has to be empty. And then we have given folder. Okay, so this empty daily note template is because I'm going to use templater for the daily note template instead. And you can see here that this is the one that I'm using. So I think it's a little bit unclear why I have both this meta template picker and these folder note templates. So I'm just gonna pause for a minute to explain why I have both a meta template picker and a periodic notes trigger. So this periodic notes trigger is for if I do something like doing Command T. For me, my hotkey for the periodic notes is Command T. So for somebody else, it could be whatever hotkey they think was good. But so if I do something like this trigger, then it goes to the periodic note system. All right, so this is the trigger. And this is the workflow. So what happens is that periodic notes will create an empty daily note because I have an empty file here, and it will go to a notes folder, which in this case is this part. So, you know, empty file from here, and it is in the given folder of the daily notes, 20 periodic, 21 daily notes folder, which is here, and then it will trigger this template in templater. Then next we have the meta template picker. So when does this one get triggered? It is when I have a daily note like this, for example, and this is a note that has not been created yet, but I want to just create it without having to use the periodic. I don't really want to use open next daily note because that's like an extra hotkey to assign and remember. So what I want to do is I want to just click on this and then have it create the note for me according to my template. So this is why I need the templater plugin to have triggered on new file creation. And then from this new file creation, the first thing that needs to be here, I guess, let me just take an image. Okay, so I'll just do example of this and put here. This would be the trigger. And so the trigger would be clicking on this empty note. So a note that has not been created, and then you want to trigger templater on new file creation. So new file creation would be going from here to here. Then from new file creation, it will look through the various folder templates, and then it will go for the root one because all new files are created in the Vault folder. So in files and links, you have default location for new notes. It is here, so I should add that in here. First, it is going here. Then from Vault folder, this will be, yeah, so it's like both of these things being triggered. Okay, so on new file creation, and this new file happens to be in the Vault folder. So this is the Vault folder, and this is the meta template picker. And the meta template picker will basically say if, just ignore the else, and pretend this is the first one. So if the file title length is 10, which tells you that this is a daily note, and then it will also check for like, does it start with a proper date number just in case it's something else that's of length 10. And then we have the daily note template. We need to close the loop here by also going to move your folder over. So this is something else that I should have added in. I'll just add it in. So you need to like, once you do this, it's basically like moving the folder back to where you expect it to be. So all your daily notes are still in this folder, even if you trigger it by just clicking on empty file. Okay, so daily note template. This here is the snippet that I use for my daily note template, and I'll just like copy it over. You do need this part though. So like this and dash is kind of important. I think I have a video explaining my meta template picker better, so I will just take a screenshot of this. This is the meta template picker part, and let me just like try to... So file title length 10 is because if you count the 4 letters of the year, like over here, it's like 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2. So altogether, that is 10. So if it's 10 letters, then I know that it is in the daily notes format. And then this is checking if it's 1990 something or 20 something. just in case that I want to create a note in the past, then I can have the daily note template just open up as it should. So I won't explain more about the meta template picker because I already explained it in my original video, and it's pretty much been the same since then. I have a way of splitting it by dashes, but I didn't really use that here. So if you see, I'm looking at the file title completely instead of the trigger phrase as I usually do for all my other note triggers. Okay, so anyway, since I was just doing a file title, I will go back here and explain like these are just how to trigger. So I have a hotkey linked to the meta template picker. Whenever I'm in a file that has like a certain naming scheme, I can just press my hotkey and it will trigger and rename the file for me. And whenever I create a new file, for example, like journal-new day, for example, this trigger phrase is what triggers like this specific sub template. And then now I have like my newsletter journaling template and it's all set up by the meta template picker. So this is the same thing, how to trigger by meta template picker. Then after that, the red one is how to trigger via folder and folder location and periodic notes. Again, so this is this red one is more of like how do you want to trigger it without using the periodic notes template, and instead you can use Templater's plugin, Templater's like advanced template functionality. At least that's how I thought of it. Okay, so back to explaining the snippet from that tangent. So you have the title, and what it does is it turns the title with this date object that it already has. So you're telling it what format this title is, and then the moment will make this into a moment object. Let me see if I still have the documentation page open. Yes, so moment.js, this is the documentation page. If you see here, just now the year, month, date thing is actually here. So you can see that this is the year, and then month would just be like, the difference between M and MM is that they put a spacer 0 here, so that's always the same like number of characters, and then DD is the same. So like you see this is spacer character here. Looking at is DD, right? Small letter DD. And that's actually just a short code that I picked. I could pick this one for like a more recognizable code, but I only needed the first 2 letters because that is enough to distinguish weekday from weekend. So as we all know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday all do not start with the letter S, but Sunday and Saturday do. With that, I just need to check if this variable that I stored, which is either like SU for Sunday, MO for Monday, and SA for Saturday. So is the first character, so character at 0, because coding wise, they always start counting from 0. So is the character at 0 S? So if it does not equals S, then it is a weekday. If it is a weekday, then this is just like, let me try to write this out because that might be hard to. If today is a weekday, then after that, you want to add this to the rest of the template. So TR is just saying print this. This thing is print this onto page if true. Yep, so this is all this snippet actually does.